Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another edition of the Butcher's Fresh Cuts. We are a proud part of the world's greatest daily Brewers baseball podcast, the Miller Park Minute, your ideal destination for daily Brewers chats and info. A big shout out to Eric over there, working hard day in and day out to bring you the freshest of the fresh. Here at the Butcher Shop, we like to take a big slab of a topic for Brewers baseball and toss it up on my butcher's block and tear into the fleshy parts of a topic to get the real dish on what's happening with our local nine. Now, we've gone over the Brewers roster from the pitching to the lineup, and last week we dissected through the other teams in the NL Central this year, and today I think will be a good time to take a deeper look at our team's farm system. After all, where do you get your prime choice USDA cut meat over here at the Butcher's Fresh Cuts? Well, it's got to come straight from the farm to table over here at Butcher's Fresh Cuts, right? Am I right? Moving on. Over the last week, my notes just got a little jumbled here. So over the last week, there's been a lot of lists coming out regarding top farm systems. Many prospect lists have come out as they tend to do this time of year, from MLB Pipeline's lists to Baseball America and beyond. And though there are often players who never even skim these top 100s and go on to be huge studs in their major league careers, these lists are about as comprehensive as it gets when it comes to evaluating the best talents that are coming up in the big leagues in the coming years. The lists are usually ranked by highest upside for the player, so the lists are not really ranked as the top 10 being the most likely to hit the big leagues this year. It doesn't rank that way, as we will see specifically with one Brewers player who we'll talk about who's highly ranked on these lists, who's just 18 years old, and he certainly won't be seeing any big league time this year, while he is mixed in with players on these lists who will see big league time this year, and a number of whom already have. The crew tallied up 3 players who ended up on the list that I reviewed for today. The list I reviewed being Baseball America's list and MLB Pipeline's top 100. 3 prospects is not a terrible showing for a top 100, and that doesn't mean that we have a terrible farm system. It's merely a top 100 prospect list for right now. In comparison, the Brewers' 3 players on MLB's list, for instance, the Orioles finished with the most on that list with 8. And they're a team who have developed one of the best farm systems we've seen in recent times. And 2 of their top 8 have already seen big league playing time, or 2 of the top 8 on the list have already seen big league playing time, those being Adley Rutschman and top prospect in the MLB's list, Gunnar Henderson. The Cleveland Guardians finished with 7. None of those players out of their 7 made the top 10, but they have the best pitching prospects in all of baseball. The Dodgers have also 7 of them, to further confuse us all in how they can have such a perfect farm system year in and year out while simultaneously having a perfect team to put on the field at Dodger Stadium year in and year out. So without further ado, let's dive into the Brewers' top prospects heading into the 2023 season. The first player we're going to talk about today is Jackson Chourio. He's one we'll probably be talking about a lot in the next few years. He's only 18 years old, and he's the top prospect in the Brewers system. The Venezuelan-born Jackson Chourio will turn 19 in March, and he has absolutely soared up the prospect rankings in just 1 year in pro ball. Coming into the season coming into this season, MLB Pipeline put him in the top 10 at number 8. We have an 8 prospect on MLB's list, and Baseball America put him all the way up at number 3. This all after him being unranked coming into the season last year and finishing 10th by the end of the season. A former international free agent signee, Chourio didn't even begin 2022 in affiliated ball, but when he did make it to affiliated ball, he made his big splash. Jackson began his season at Carolina with the Mudcats, and in 62 games, he hit .324, he hit 12 dingers, plucked 47 ribbies to a .973 OPS. That's a splash coming into the pro ranks for your first time at such a young age. It earned him a spot in the MLB's Futures game in July, which is an excellent event where top young players showcase their talent in a game that's usually before the All-Star game and always televised. Chourio was then promoted up to the T-Rats up in Appleton and was the youngest player in all of advanced A-ball, where he hit .252, popped 8 dingers, 24 RBIs, to an .805 OPS. He finished the season with a 6-game cup of coffee in AA Biloxi, and he will be just 19 when he plays there this year. incredible. He was voted as Brewers Minor League Player of the Year last year and was the youngest player in A-ball, the youngest player in advanced A-ball. He was the youngest player in AA ball, and this winter was the youngest player in all the Venezuelan winter leagues, where he continued to hone on that craft coming in to this spring training. One really fun thing about Jackson Chourio that I want to talk about, and this is really kind of cool, he will probably be a top-ranked prospect in all of baseball at some point this season. It's almost now a foregone conclusion. He's sitting in the top 10 right now. He's just 18. And most of the other players who are above and around him are much older than him, and many will make their debuts this season, and a few who we've already talked about already have and will be likely taking on starting roles for the 2023 season, two of whom that we'll talk about Arizona's Corbin Carroll, who was number 1 on Keith Law's rankings for The Athletic, and Gunnar Henderson, who was for the Orioles, and he was number 1 on MLB's list. And that leaves Chourio, who has a crazy long shot of making it up to the show this year. It's just not going to happen, even with his insane trajectory, as the Brewers still have a pretty loaded outfield and have some older guys in the pipeline coming up who are due to make their debuts before Jackson, and we'll talk about a couple of those later in the video. Listen, this is great for the team. This is great for the Brewers, especially right now. We have a top 10 prospect who is still very young and has an incredible amount of promise. It will bring some eyes to Milwaukee and the farm system if we are sitting with the number 1 prospect waiting in the wings, sitting on the cover of Baseball America. It's good for the team. And just to think about it, we're going to have a number 1 prospect. I can't personally think of the last time that the Brewers had a number 1 ranked prospect. I'd love it if you guys could comment in the video and give me a little education on that one. I'd love to know. But it's more than likely going to happen. So let's keep an eye out for Jackson Chourio and what he does in the minors this year in AA Biloxi, and see if he can make that jump to Nashville. I'm not sure he might even be starting in Nashville this year, just based on those 8 games he only had last year in AA. I expect to see him playing there. There's good pitching in AA. It'd be good to see him take some more hacks this season in AAA or in AA. The next dude we're going to talk about, who has been highly ranking on these lists, is 22-year-old outfielder Sal Frelick. Frelick finished at number 30 on MLB Pipeline's list of top prospects after finishing 22 at number 46. Sal was the Brewers' first-round pick in 2021 and drafted in the number 15 spot out of Boston College. He began last season in High A, Wisconsin with the T-Rats, where he played just 21 games before being promoted, and he batted .291. Up in Biloxi, he racked up 52 games, improving that average all the way up to a .317, raking in 25 RBIs and 40 runs scored. Notice he improved that average as he got to the tougher pitching. He was then promoted to the Sounds in Music City, where he upped that average even more to .365. Remember, continuing to up that average as he goes to nastier and tougher pitching. He had a .508 slugging percentage when he was in Nashville last season, and all this culminates to a minor league season in 2022 where Frelick batted .331, racked up 24 stolen bases, had 163 hits, 59 RBIs, and 13 dingers. And I do realize I may be pronouncing Frelick wrong. It's probably Frelick, but we'll see as after he makes his debut. This breakout 3-level minor league campaign last year got Frelick an invite to big league camp later this month, which will be a nice test for a kid who primarily plays center field. Sal is projected to make his big league debut in 2023, so we will look forward to seeing younger faces patrolling out there, with Garrett Mitchell coming up just last year. So we'll keep a close eye out for Frelick and how he does against some better pitching this year in spring in Arizona. The next and final player who the Brewers have ranked in any of these lists of the top 100s is yet another outfielder, and that would be Joey Wiemer. And I didn't know much about Wiemer coming into this, doing the prep for this episode, but I really, really like what I've seen about Joey Wiemer. I think he could probably rank higher than they listed him, and I think he likely will by season's end. The information that I'm about to give to you on Wiemer, I mean, the guy is fantastic. He was ranked at number 90 on MLB's list of top 100 prospects. He began the 2022 season at number 100, and he's moved up 10 spots since then. He had a bit of a down minor league season in 2022, but the numbers really don't suggest that. But for his numbers, it was a little down for him. but they're still fantastic. Between the two levels, AA and AAA, that he was at last year, he batted .256 to an .801 OPS. He bopped 34 doubles and 21 home runs and stole 31 bags. And that was a down year for the young slugger. Though he had a pretty big September to close out the year where he hit .302, had a .425 on base, slugged .476, and drew 15 walks. He was a fourth-round pick for the Crew in 2020 out of the College of Cincinnati. He, of course, didn't play a season that year for the minors because there was no minor league season, but has been one of the most intriguing outfield prospects in all of baseball since then. He's got quite an unorthodox swing, and he can look pretty awkward up there at the plate, but that swing causes Weimer to hit the ball out of the park at any part of the field. He can swipe bags. He's an above-average runner. He's an exceptional defender. He can play center field, and he can also mash, where in 2021, he quietly just put up a .959 OPS, hit 27 home runs, and swiped 30 bags for good measure. That's five-tool talent. That's everything I just listed, but he's a five-tool talent so far at the lower levels. He's turned a lot of heads as he's made it up the ranks, proving he can hit for average, he can hit for power at all parts of the ballpark, he can steal bags at a very nice clip, play any position defensively, and has quite a nice arm from the field, at center field, on top of it. Weimer is another guy who I think we will see some big league playing time in 2022 or in 2023. And if you missed Hader's luscious long locks of love, Weimer has them as well, and they're blonder. So let's look forward to seeing JoJo this season patrolling the outfield, and we will keep an eye on those spring numbers as well. Well, those are the top three prospects the Brewers have going for them coming into the 2023 season, at least in terms of the lists that are coming out. Of course, we still have other great prospects in the pipeline. I gave a pretty detailed outlook on Bryce Turang in my first Fresh Cuts episode, detailing the Brewers lineup coming into the year, as I projected that Turang would probably land the starting second base job. Now I may pull back from that take, as the Brewers did just recently sign BA, and we are starting to have a little bit of a loaded infield as well. Garrett Mitchell, of course, is still considered a prospect. He's still on prospect status. He still has to complete some more big league time to shed that status. And I also broke down Mitchell in that first Fresh Cuts episode. But to summarize, basically, I love Garrett Mitchell. I love the tools. He's a very toolsy guy as well. Very fast. Going to swipe a lot of bags this year, I think. And he was my player personally to watch close for in 2023. He's the guy I'm going to be keeping a really close eye on in the big league club personally. We also drafted a nice young pitcher, Jacob Misiorowski, a righty in 2022, who will be pitching up in Appleton this year. Eric Brown Jr. was our first-round pick this season, and was MLB's 35th highest draft prospect in 2022. He'll be playing shortstop in A-ball this year, we project. And then there's Robert Gasser, who's the last player we got left out of that Hader trade. He's a 23-year-old flame-throwing lefty. He's our 9th top prospect on the team right now, currently ranked in I think we're going to see some of Gasser this season, more than likely bullpen. He's been pitching in the bullpen as he's been coming up the ranks. Overall, the Brewers do have a mid-ranked farm system that is improving year after year as the team tried to rebuild without bottoming out. Last year, Bleacher Report ranked the Brewers farm system at 19th in baseball coming into the season. Those lists haven't quite come out yet, but if I were to ballpark a guess, I think we'd probably have jumped up to around 15, right in the middle. Some of the trades we've made and a nice 2022 draft have improved our farm system considerably, and the higher rankings of players like Chiriot and Frelick should shed some nice light on our farm system for those making those rankings, and that's becoming ever more dependent for the big league, that big league teams depending on that farm system more and more as we are not shedding payroll, but keeping it right around the same spot that it's been. I would give our farm system a C+ currently, and there will probably be more trades as the season progresses that to up the grade a bit before season's end. I'm greatly looking forward to a few of these pieces coming up this year, and for the development of Jackson Chiriot and his inevitable landing spot as the top-ranked prospect in all of baseball. It's going to be a big year for our farm system, one who develops great pitching at a fascinating rate. That's something that our much like Cleveland, we seem to develop pitchers at an alarming rate, even at the big league level. I mean, when we just make trades for guys, we have a way of turning careers around. Look at Jordan Lyles. So with that, thanks for watching. Please, and with that, thanks for watching. Please, there are all types of ways to keep up on the pipeline for the Brewers these days. Countless websites to track these players. The MILB app lets you watch games. Even the MLB TV app likes to give you at least one minor league game a day to watch on the app. I've watched a couple myself. It's not often that you'll get a Brewers affiliate on there, but it's really nice to watch some of those games when, you got nothing but A's Giants on at 9:30 and they got an MILB game on. Sometimes I'll throw that one on instead. The pipeline that feeds MLB is more than twice as large as the show itself, and they've slashed many teams before last season. So let's not let that happen again. These players are the future of the game that we all love so dearly. So this summer, get up to Appleton, watch a T-Rats game, and while you're at it, watch some unaffiliated ball up in Fond du Lac with the Dock Spiders. Eric does some shooting for them, or go see the Milkmen down in Franklin. They are having a lot of fun down in Franklin. There's a lot of great stuff going on there. They won the title in their first year, I believe. Or you even come check out the league I play in, the West Bend Old Timers, where you can see me get a hit off Dario Melendez again firsthand this summer, if he doesn't think he's too busy to play this year, too important. But that's just a shot at Dario. But whatever you do, go see some baseball and support the guys who are giving it their all to make their dreams come true and keep the beautiful game we love so much alive. Thank you so much. I love you guys. Like and subscribe to the Miller Park Minute. Please leave some comments on topics you'd like to see me cut up for future episodes. And as always, Sue pitched great. Don't widen the plate. Later.